Hey guys, it's Eris with Mariner Sales at iCast, and we are so fortunate to be here with Phil Dow of Hobie. He is the actual brainchild of their new 360 drive unit, and he's agreed to spend a little time with us, telling us how it all came about. Phil, what gave you the idea to come up with this crazy invention?
It's a good question. It was 6 years ago. Yeah, and for me, I was trying to see what is the evolution of this. Like the MirageDrive has been amazing product, and it was patented, but that doesn't last forever. And if you just stay there on what you've patented, eventually
Somebody's going to jump in.
Somebody else is going to come up, make something better, or make the same thing, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So I just started messing around. I started looking at I've been at the company for 14 years, and I've been working on this for 6.
Were you telling me that you started sailing with the company? Is that how you got involved with the company?
I sailed Hobie cats on the North Carolina coast, and I was just like,
all right.
So I sailed sailboats on the North Carolina coast, and I was just in love with the product, the lifestyle. I was just like, Hobie cat.
I understand.
Yeah, so after college, I called them after, I sent in my resume after a few drinks. I got up the nerve. I didn't want to hear no.
So these were bravery drinks? Is that what they were?
Yeah,
okay.
Irish car bombs.
Yeah.
So I sent in my resume, and they were just like, come out for an interview, and it happened. It was my dream job. And
Who did you interview with?
With Doug and Greg Ketterman,
there you go.
who designed the original MirageDrive.
That's right.
Which this is all based on originally. So from there, I had been working at the company for not quite a decade. I just, for the first time, looked at the MirageDrive and I was like, where can we go from here? How does this even really work? It already existed for me, and sometimes things that already exist, you don't really think about.
It existed up here?
No. The original MirageDrive.
Sure.
I've never really stared at and thought, okay.
Yeah.
So I sort of broke it down, and I thought, well, how else could we run these wires? What else could we do? And I designed one that it was just a sexy looking MirageDrive, basically. It didn't turn or anything, but the way I designed it, it had the cables run up through the center of the drive.
Yeah.
And from there, I was like, I could make this turn. And then I was showing it to my wife, and she was like, well, why don't you make it turn all the way around? And I was like, I could. I was like, I don't know if I should.
You should.
6 years later, I did. Here it is.
Oh, man.
So it's obviously it was a bit of a technical hurdle to make this happen, just from a perspective of getting this whole lower unit to move and to never wind up.
Yeah.
And then from that point, I had to make the whole steering system to be able to continually, infinitely turn around. So,
sure.
It was kind of an invention after an invention after an invention, just to be able to make all of these things happen, just from ground up. Even the adjuster mechanisms are brand new.
Had to be changed.
Yeah. So here we are, and after 6 years of work, 2 years of full injection molded testing, and tons of people on it, smashing it, cycle testers, hundreds of thousands of cycles, seven different sets of revisions to all of the parts. I mean, this thing, the molders hate me at this point because I've done so many different changes, but it was a learning process. I had to get everything right. And
how ambitious of you to not only solve the multi-directional problem, but while you're at it, solve the bending of the mast problem.
Yeah.
And I won't fib to you, the bending of the mast problem became a bigger problem when the masts got bigger in diameter because they were harder to actually safely fix on the field for people.
And with the 180, it was just,
And you
absolutely.
totally solved that problem.
Yeah, that's you run into something, it's just a simple kickback, and then the fins are what's propelling you forward. So as soon as you start pedaling, they just lock back into position. So it's nice. You live above the water now. You don't worry about all this stuff that you could be hitting. You just hit it. If you hit it, that's fine.
You just keep going.
Yeah. And it's got a kick up skeg, a kick up rudder, so you just slide over whatever it is. And then if you are in a shallow area, you can rotate that lower unit with it up, so you can still maneuver.
You
can do a flutter kick sideways, and you can steer it any direction still. So it really just you kind of get out there and you're like, well, how do I do this now? There's just so many different options for how you control the boat. You think if you can imagine it, you can make it happen. So it's kind of a different world out there, and it's hard to get back in a normal one afterwards.
We saw Phil out here there yesterday with his invention. We've got some video of him cruising around. He's doing some amazing things in what most people consider to be one of the biggest fishing boats on the market. I mean, the Hobie Pro Angler 14. He was scooting around sideways, pivoting within the radius of the boat. It's amazing the kind of control you have on this thing.
And just fun, you know?
You were smiling.
Yeah, I can't help it. I'm always grinning when I'm on it. Yeah.
Well done. And an elegant look, too. I got to tell you, you were paying attention to how it looked, too.
Yeah, I mean, this is, you know, there's a geometry that you can't get around with this thing, and I had to do that, and the form of it kind of just follows that. But yeah, I mean, I think it is a really pretty looking device, and but for me, like the user interface, the handle just next to you that you steer it with, the way you drop it into the boat, you know, this thing is even in every way it is simpler than what we had before, even though you know, there's complexity to making this possible. So
that was one of the first questions we got actually when people started seeing this. I don't know somebody got somewhere and leaked some plans or
the patents.
Yeah, I have no idea how that happened, but as they were looking it over, we were getting phone calls from customers. Is it going to be hard to get out? You know, is it going to fit in the old cassette? Is it all this other stuff? And it is not hard to get out. It's even easier to get out than it was before, and just really a perfect solution to something we didn't even know was a problem until now. It's almost kind of like reverse. Yeah. Everybody kind of wanted it, but we were doing without it for 20 years, so it didn't matter. Then all of a sudden we get it. We gotta have it. You can't do without it. I imagine that's what's going to be an evolution of the way people use this as well.
In the same way, I looked at the MirageDrive and I was like, how could this be different? You know, people didn't realize this was a problem that needed to be solved until you get into it and realize this degree of freedom. It's like you've grown extra arms or something. You have all this control. You have something you didn't have before.
Well, you need extra arms. We're way too many arms short in kayak fishing. You know, there's no doubt about it.
It's true. Yeah, it's a blast to use, and it's just you engage with the boat, you engage with your surroundings, and it's just fun. There's a tiny learning curve at the beginning. It takes people a couple minutes to figure it out because you've got a couple controls you're using. But then you get to continue to grow with it. Keep trying new tricks, trying new things, figuring out how it changes. If you're fishing the same spot you've been fishing for years, you're going to fish it totally differently, you know, and you're going to learn how it benefits you in that situation. So it's just fun.
Within 5 minutes in the boat, I was able to take these two simple controls and drag myself sideways along a shoreline, which I've never been able to do in a kayak before, unless the wind was doing it for me. It was a level of control you're just not used to. Yeah, seems like we all owe your wife a debt of gratitude for saying, why don't you make it go all the way around?
Yeah, she sure thinks so.
Well, this time she's right. Hey, thanks for sharing this with us, Phil. I sure do appreciate it. The mad scientist behind the Hobie 360, Phil Dow, thank you for your generous time. I'm Eris with Mariner Sales. I can't believe you guys are still paying attention to us after this time at iCast. We're tickled pink to be here. We'll try to bring you new stuff soon. Thank you very much for watching.